let me start here. Nothing is actually wrong with your life, and that's what makes it so confusing. Because you're not broke, you're not failing, and you're not behind in any obvious way. But you wake up already tired, and you haven't even done anything yet. Look, I'm not talking physically tired, maybe some of you are, but I mean more mentally tired. Before you've even said a word or have done anything to begin with, your brain is already juggling money, responsibilities, options, expectations, and just decisions that you didn't even choose. And you're probably telling yourself, or at least I did in the past, hey, I just need to get more disciplined. But the truth is, nah, you don't. Here's what's happening. You're overwhelmed, and nobody ever told you that being overwhelmed is the real enemy. The thing is this. You're making more money than you used to. You got more options than your parents ever had, and somehow you just feel more stuck than ever before. But I got news for you. That doesn't necessarily make you, yes, I can't think of a better word, weak. That just makes you human in a broken system. See, the problem isn't that you don't grind hard enough or you don't work hard enough. The problem is that modern life as we know it is just very loud on purpose. Here's what I mean. It profits off of your confusion. It also eats your attention. And then it just blames you when you feel exhausted. So by the end of this video, you're gonna understand something that most people never do. Minimalism isn't about less stuff. It's actually about less nonsense that's controlling your life. And once you see that, you're gonna stop panicking, you're gonna stop rushing, and you're gonna start to move like somebody that actually knows what they're doing. Now, I consider myself a minimalist. Well, okay, at least a part-time minimalist. But I want to clear something up right now. Minimalism is not sleeping on the floor or throwing away everything that you like, and it's definitely not pretending that you don't want money. That's just nonsense. In my eyes, minimalism is essentially saying, I'm not letting everything have access to me. That's it. Because right now, your life has too many tabs open. I'm talking mentally, financially, and emotionally. And every tab wants your energy. That's why you're tired. Now, listen, before we talk about money, bills, or feeling broke, I need you to hear this part because some of y'all might think this is a financial problem, but it's not. Money is just where the pressure finally shows up. The weight started way before the bank account. It started with too much access, too many decisions, and too many little things that are just pulling you all at once. So when your finances feel tight or stressful, that shit ain't random. That's your brain saying, hey, this shit is just too complicated for me. And that's why we have to talk about money next. Not because you've done necessarily anything wrong, but because complexity just always cashes its check eventually. So let me say something you probably already know. Most of us are overcommitted. I'm talking subscriptions that we forgot about, bills tied to decisions that we don't even remember making, and just lifestyle upgrades that look small but stacked up over time. And the thing is, we didn't just buy one thing, we bought a chain reaction. And now every paycheck already has a job before it even hits our account. Now, I don't necessarily think this is failure. This is just complexity doing what it does. But here's the beauty. Minimalism cuts complexity way before it cuts spending. And that's why, at least in my eyes, it works. Here's something nobody probably told you growing up. Every decision costs energy. I'm talking what to wear, what to eat, what to buy, and what you should have done instead, like hitting that like and subscribe button. Anyways, the more you have, the more decisions that you owe. And that's why you procrastinate, that's why you likely feel foggy, and that's why everything just feels harder than it should be. But minimalism, it actually doesn't make life empty, it instead makes life lighter. So before we jump into rules and principles, I want to get this thing straight out of the way. You likely already understand the problem. I mean, you see the clutter, the noise, and just the mental weight, and you feel how life just keeps pulling you in 1,000 different directions. So I'm sure that you get it, but here's the key that most people miss. Knowing the problem doesn't change your life. You can nod your head and still necessarily do nothing because habits and identity are just running the show in the background. You see, minimalism isn't necessarily about willpower. It's actually about strategy. Here's what I mean. It's about shaping your environment so that the right choices are automatic and the wrong ones, are not even on the table. So think of it this way. Right now, your life is like a messy kitchen. You're trying to cook a 5-course meal, but the counters are full, the fridge is overflowing, and knives are just scattered everywhere. Now, you could hustle through this, but it's going to be messy, stressful, and just painfully slow. Minimalism is taking a step back, clearing the counters, putting the knives where they belong, so when you start cooking, nothing stops you. Now that your mind is clear, your decisions become intentional instead of chaotic. So this is actually a great spot to move to the next topic, which is principle number 1. You cannot live multiple futures at the same time. You see, every time you try to live multiple futures, you weaken all of them. Let me say this real clearly. You can't live 5 futures at the same time. You can't be the hustle guy, the wellness guy, the social guy, or the carefree guy or girl, all at the same time, because that's not ambition, that's just confusion. You see, every future has a price, and when you try to pay for all of them, you go broke. Mentally first, financially second. So minimalism is just choosing one future and letting the others die quietly. Not necessarily forever, just for now. Now let's move on to principle number 2. If your life requires constant management, it's already just too complex. Anything that needs constant attention is not freedom. It's actually a liability. Here's how to know if your life is too complicated. It needs you all the freaking time. Your money needs checking, your systems need tweaking, and your plans need some sort of just revision each and every day. That's not control, that's just babysitting. If something only works when I'm constantly watching it, it's not freedom, it's a job. Because real freedom is when your system runs without your personality involved. I'm talking just simple things like automatic investing, simple rules, and just fewer accounts. If it's boring, it's good, because boring is actually very stable, and stable gets rich. So now let's just get on to the final principle, which is number 3. Nothing new enters your life without something leaving. Adding without subtraction is how chaos starts to sneak in, pretty politely. If you take nothing else from this video, let this run your life. Nothing comes in unless something goes out. New expenses? Great, what's gone? New commitment? Great, what are we dropping? New goal? Cool, what are we no longer chasing? If the answer to all of these is nothing, you didn't add value, you just added weight. You see, minimalism protects your time, your money, and your focus by forcing trade-offs up front, not after you're already overwhelmed. So this rule alone will save you years. That's it. But here's where most people quit before they even start. Because minimalism isn't just about stuff. It's about who you are to the world. So don't say, I'm trying to be a minimalist. That's weak. That's hope, not identity. Instead, say something like, I decide what deserves my time, my energy, and my money. Everything else is just for the birds. Because once your identity shifts like this, everything changes. Like your finances manage themselves because you don't buy into hype. Your career moves feel effortless because you don't chase distractions. And your stress actually drops because your boundaries are real and not aspirational. At this stage, minimalism becomes automatic because you don't follow a list or a trend. You instead become someone who can't be distracted by chaos. That's freedom. And the irony is, it doesn't come from taking more. It actually comes from subtracting everything that frankly weakens you. So let me be clear. You don't need more hustle, more strategies, or frankly, more advice. But if you do, I got a lot more videos that you can go and watch on my channel. But seriously though, you just need space. Space to think, space to breathe, and space to decide without being pulled in 1,000 directions. And minimalism gives you that. You see, minimalism is not about living smaller. It's instead about living larger in your own mind and your own life. That was actually pretty nice. Anyways, here's the real truth that most people never see. When you subtract the unnecessary, the important becomes, quite frankly, unstoppable. I'm talking your finances, your career, your health, and your freedom. They all just get better automatically when you stop letting noise run your life. So take it slow, be intentional, own your decisions, and trust yourself enough to do less and win more. That's the power of minimalism. And hey, while you're at it, go ahead and just donate that piece of clothing that you haven't worn in years. Yeah, talking about that one. I know you've been saving it likely for later, but just let it go. And don't worry, I'm actually about to do the same thing after this video. So if this video made sense, hit the like button. If it didn't, hit subscribe. Thanks for watching.